Yeah, and volume 3 is the alphabetical indexes. So the volume 3 give the alphabetical indexes that talks about diseases, certain diseases. In classification there are certain diseases that requires to be classified alphabetically, not like others that may be classified using codes. Now, as in your mind, and you might be thinking that, first of all, am I responsible for creating all the codes of diseases, and how will I even do that? No, there is nothing to think about like that. Like we are saying that volume 1 is a tubular list. In that tubular list, it has the codes. So all you need to do is to go into the systems, get the diagnoses, get to know which code should I have to put for malaria, which code should I have to give to cholera, and they're already there in the system. Okay, so just a matter of extracting the right codes and write it in front of the diagnosis that is written on the card, and that is simply what is done right there. So here we also briefly talked about the qualities of your classification data, and I say your data must be accurate and complete. It must be secure as well. It must be in time, and also it must have a standard definitions. Okay, so we have what we are calling ICF, that is the International Classifications of Functioning, Disability, and Health. This should be, I think there's an error there, and that should be handicap. Yeah, the old typing has indicated health, so you will actually be able to correct it. That H, that last word health should be handicaps. So if you had a hard copy, please correct it. It's supposed to be International Classification of Functioning, Disability, and Handicaps is you write the word and then you add I, and then you write caps. Okay, handicaps. So this is the specific classifications which is meant. It is meant strictly for the functioning body. The ability of the body is done by looking at the ability of the body to functions, the disability status, and the status of incapabilities. So here it is also not summarized, so you're going to follow me and then you underline some of the key points and also be able to summarize. So the short form of International Classification of Functioning, Disability, and Handicap is as ICF. So the ICF is a classification of health related states, and which is divided into two components or parts. Part 1 is the classification. It is classifying functioning and disability. And then part 2, it comprises of environmental and personal contextual factors. So the functioning and disability in part 1 are described from the perspectives of the body. So they look at the body of a person, whether the person is having all the body that is functioning, and the individuals and society formulated into two components. Number 1 are body functions and structures. Does a person have the full body that is functioning, or the persons have some part of the body that's not functioning? For example, you find that a person has had an injury whereby either one leg or one hand or an eye or whatever is not functioning. And then 2, activities and participations. What are they capable of doing and participating in? So that is the state of disability, because disability is the limitations of activities and participations. So since an individual's functioning and disability occur in context, the ICF also includes a list of environmental factors. Okay, so we have some of the replacements of the terms being used in ICF. We have functioning, disability, body functions, body structures, impairments, participations, environmental factors, and you're going to look at that. You're going to read through that and you summarize it. Okay. So what I'm talking about next is conventions used in classification of disease, which is commonly found in tubular list for really classifying or coding of diseases. What do I mean by conventions? Convention is simply an abbreviations of key terms that are used in the classification of diseases. For example, you will find that, let's look at, for example, number one, we have what we are calling parentheses. What is parentheses as far as convention is concerned? Parentheses is the bracket, the opposite brackets. So the question is, how do we use the brackets? And of course, we have been writing. We know sometimes you understand where brackets should be fit. And you know that some bracket in most cases are used when there is alternatives of a term or words. So maybe you can write, let's say you can write the name of a person and you put into bracket. If the name of the person look like a male, then you put into bracket male. Or you can write the word sex, then into bracket gender. What does it mean? It means if someone can't understand when you call it sex, a person can use the word gender as alternatives in understanding what you are referring to. So we have parentheses, and here we says that parentheses are used in volume 1 in 4 important situations. One, they are used to enclose supplementary words which may follow a diagnostic terms without affecting the code number to which the words outside the parentheses would be assigned. So if you are to use any of the alternatives of any word that you may choose, make sure that that word you are using does not have a code that will interfere with the code of the main term. You get the point? So for example, we are having the word, let's say we are having the disease leprosy. Okay, we're having the disease leprosy. Now if you want to use any other term like ancient, you can use the word ancient, but that is when the word ancient does not have a code. But if the word ancient have a code, you can't use it because that code will interfere with the code of the main term. So you only use the word that please let me block this to avoid some of this pop-up message that is interrupting us. Yeah, and two, parentheses are also used to enclose the codes to which an exclusion terms refers. For example, if we have a conditions Balfaritis, you can actually exclude it by using the term Balfaroconjunctivitis. So that will be the alternatives of the word of the term that is being used. Then we can also use it in the block titles. This is, for example, when you have the main topic of something and then you put the word into bracket. For example, you can write the word, let's say, parts of parentheses. And instead of saying part of parentheses, then you put into the bracket components. Such that if a person can understand the word parts, he or she will be able to use the word components to understand your point. And then we have square brackets. This is the bracket but is in square. Okay, so we also use these square brackets in enclosing alternatives words when we are trying to explain anything. The example is also here. We have A30, which is the code of leprosy, and we can actually say that this is Hansen's disease because Hansen does not have a code, so it cannot interfere with A30. Also, we can use it for referring a person to the previous informations or maybe the previous notes. Or for example, we can say for more informations, check page 21. You get the point? Then you can use that square bracket to enclose the word page 21. Or for more information, check page 21 because you're referring a person to to the other page for more informations. And we're having colons. We use colons every day when we are making our statement. And of course, where we use colon, this one is self-explanatory. We use colon when we still have something to list, or we have more information to place as far as that information or the main topic is what is concerned. And then we have brace. Brace is a single bracket. This bracket is commonly, we were taught how to use it in primary 1 2 there, where we use the element of sides or abacus and the rest. So this is when you have very many terms that would be meaning the same thing. Okay, for example, you can have the list of men, like 10 of them, and then you just put a bar in front of all those names, and then you write the word males. What does it mean? It means all those list of the people you are seeing, all of them are what? All of them are males. Or you can list diseases, and then you put a bar, and in front of you say infectious diseases. It means all those diseases you are seeing in the list, they are all what? They are all infectious diseases. So for example, here we have obstructive damage to pelvic joints and ligaments, avulsions of inner symphyseal cartilage. We have damage to coccyx, and then we have traumatic suppressions of symphysis. So all these are related to obstetrics. Obstetrics is the management of the pregnant mothers and then newborns after and before. So that is where we use the brace actually. And by the way, here it is not drawn as the brace, okay? But it was I think the person who did the typing couldn't place it in his technology. But we understand that you can, if you have a pen, you have a hard copy, please, you can use that word to replace this where you are seeing it as a bar. Okay. We are again having the abbreviations of NOS, that is not otherwise specified. Not otherwise specified is just simply means unspecified. So it means that there are certain informations or some of the terms that are not classified anywhere. Okay, so you can use them anywhere. They're not classified, they're not termed, they're not restricted. You can use those informations anywhere. And we have not elsewhere classified. Not elsewhere classified, it means it can be classified within a certain category, but you cannot find it where? You cannot find it anywhere. So we have and, which is used in the title. Okay, and as used in the title is used to connect two different terms. Okay, for example, even the title of our course unit here, it is disease classification and coding. So the word and it is used to connect the two different words in a sentence or in a title. So that is also used when we have different diseases that we are supposed to connect them together. So for example, you can see that we have tuberculosis of joints and tuberculosis of bones. Now, there's no way we can make it correct by saying tuberculosis of joints, tuberculosis of bones. So if you want them to appear as one sentence, the word "and" must be in the middle there. So we need that also to connect where we have similarities of diseases as well. Okay. Yeah. So and then we have point dash. Point dash is a character categories that is used to replace certain informations, and also it is normally indicate that something is not completed. For example, when you are writing and then writing at the edge of a paper, you could not complete a word, but you have started it already. Let's say you want to write the word complete, then you just write com with a P, then ELT is not there. You put a dash, then you come back and complete it from the back. It is understandable that it's because that dash alone indicate that there is an extra information following that, or the word you are saying is incomplete. And then we have asterisk categories. Asterisk categories is used on specific diseases. It can be used it can be used alone, but it can be used on diseases that have some of additional informations. Now, asterisk categories is commonly used on diseases that are viewed every day, okay, so that the moment, and that's why first of all you can't use it alone, but the moment you see it, that means such are common diseases that are basically being reviewed every day as far as morbidity and mortality is concerned. So lastly, there is specialty classifications. The specialty classifications, this is just to help you to understand different terms and their meanings, okay, because some of the terms are commonly used in the classification of diseases. So kindly be able to read through, and then you can be able to master them one by one. And our last topic here is nomenclature. Nomenclature. The word nomenclature is very interesting. It's what we is just it is just like the calling of names, okay? Nomenclature is just like the name. If someone asks you that what is your nomenclature, can you tell me your nomenclature? uh, it simply is, the person is simply saying, how do I call you? How do I what? How do I call you? But this the question sound the question sound negative, and yet the answers also sound negative. You get the point. How do I call you? What is your nomenclature? Okay, so you can say my nomenclature is so and so. You can call me so and so. You get the point. So like I said, the word nomenclature is Latin words whereby uh, nom mean name, and then clature means call. So in a simple term, is the calling of what? Is the calling of names. So why do we really look at this? Because we have a lot of terminologies that we uses, and the calling of these terminology is what we are calling nomenclature. Okay, and then the question is, why should we talk about it? It is because there is need for uniformity in the medical terminologies. We need to have a clear understanding of the medical terminologies. So if I says leprosy, someone in America should understand what I'm saying. Someone in any part of the world should understand. In medical field, we don't have languages that mean something different. Because if people could use different languages in medicine, like the way like life in Kampala here, how would you think treatment would be possible? You find someone who have studied medicine but is speaking Luganda, and okay, assuming there was no nomenclature and there was no medical term, okay, some people train themselves in Luganda, other people train themselves in whatever, and then they're going to practice in across the world. It's not possible. If you remain in that means you're supposed to practice within the field of your language. You get the point. But health, it is a universal services that can be offered any part of the world, and therefore there is need for uniformity in the terms being used, and also people should be able to understand definitely in the observations and the activities that they should be carrying out. So we are saying that therefore nomenclature means calling of names. It is defined as systems of names used in any science and art. Medical science, it is a systematic compilations of terms of diseases, conditions, and operations. There were about 8 various sources of nomenclature compiled together to form what was called nomenclature of disease. An improvement on the nomenclature in use, then the standard nomenclature of operations were published in around the 1961. So what is the purpose of nomenclature? I already talked about that. Okay, so we have types of nomenclature, and that is the disease nomenclature, operational nomenclature, and prescriptions nomenclature. The calling of the names of diseases and the callings of the operational procedures, okay, the like of excisions. The old terms used in operation should also be in uniform so that the surgeons can understand. And also the prescription, the language used by the pharmacist should also be should also be the same in the prescription of drugs. So we have the disadvantages of nomenclature as well, and we have the classification versus nomenclature, uh, which talks about the purposes and repeating almost the same thing right there. Now, finally, you looked at the purposes of this is repeated also. This last part, purposes of medical data, is also repeated. So those are the key theoretical part of the disease classifications. What is remaining that I'm going to send it for you is the sample list of diseases and their codes, of which I'm working on it, and I think just a matter of getting the scan copy and forward it to your WhatsApp anytime. Okay, so that's all for disease classification. I'm going to share with you that, and then maybe I try to say something about the other one. The other one is just the list, diseases on the other side and codes on the other side. So you're supposed to just focus on the common diseases and their codes, of which I will send you the work when I've already marked those common areas that you're supposed to consider. Otherwise, thank you for today.